We're here now. Jason Chaffetz, he's the former Oversight Committee chairman, and Doug Schoen, former advisor to President Bill Clinton. Both are Fox News contributors. Good to see both of you. Representative, I'll start with you. Do you think that this is starting to wind down, the Mueller investigation, first of all?
Well, for, better part of a year, they have been doing a host of interviews and transcribed interviews within the House Intelligence Committee. You've had some in the public. You've had the Senate going on. And at some point, you run out of witnesses to talk to, and you have to actually write a report. So, led by Devin Nunes, but Mike Conaway out of Texas. You have Tom Rooney of Florida and Trey Gowdy of South Carolina. They're the main ones charged, and I do think they'll write a report wherever those facts take them.
Doug, I wonder if this is going to backfire at all on the Democrats, only because it seems, well, we all know the Russians had some kind of interference in our election. But as this all starts to add up, what we're finding is that this so-called dossier, which was largely discredited by everyone, was somehow treated potentially as a reason for looking into the Trump campaign as the first place. If they find that, Doug, I just wonder if it's going to land the Democrats and Hillary Clinton's team in a whole lot more trouble than anyone anticipated.
Well, first, it's not Hillary Clinton's team anymore. Second, that's a very big if, Trish, and we don't know for certain what, if anything, the dossier was used in terms of the FISA court. And third, as you've reported, 4 people have pled guilty, including General Flynn, and we need to let the investigation run its course. That is not to say that there are not abuses in the FBI. The Republicans are right. We're seeing more and more of those every day. But you can do both. You can finish the investigation. You can see where, as Jason Chaffetz said, where the facts go. And you can also investigate the FBI, because what we're learning is very, very troubling, more so on a daily basis.
Indeed. Doug, I'm glad you said that. It's something the president has been pointing to, and I can share some of the tweets with you. He certainly went after Andrew McCabe over the weekend, saying that FBI's Andrew McCabe, in addition to his wife getting all the money from Clinton Puppet, he was using allegedly his FBI official email account to promote her campaign. You obviously cannot do that. He went on to say FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe is racing the clock to retire with full benefits, 90 days to go. Representative, are you concerned that McCabe had a real conflict of interest there? Well, even if it wasn't real, just the perception of conflict of interest, really, for many people makes it quite real. And might that have sacrificed his ability to look aggressively into the Clinton campaign emails?
Look, Mr. McCabe has served this country for a long time. But I will tell you that when I was the chairman and we were investigating what Mr. McCabe had done, when his wife decided to run for the assembly there in Virginia, he decided to recuse himself of everything that was involved in Virginia. But it was only later, and I believe, and I have to check my notes, but after he got a promotion, he rescinded that and said, okay, I will oversee that, even though it involved Hillary Clinton in the email scandal. Hillary Clinton had come to Virginia, had done a fundraiser, more than $500,000 ended up in his wife's campaign account. I mean, that is but just one of the factors that you have to look at and say, what in the world is going on? And why would you recuse yourself and then pull that back when you still have oversight responsibility within the FBI?
It's a good question, Doug. I mean, does this compromise him? Does it compromise other? I mean, between the text that we saw, there are a lot of reasons to doubt the FBI's inability, I should say, to be impartial in the whole investigation.
Well, if that's the case, let's have Mr. Papadopoulos and General Flynn come forward and say that they didn't lie to the FBI, something they've pled guilty to. If they, for some reason, were coerced to plead guilty or didn't lie, as they have acknowledged they did, fine. But I think that totally part of the investigation has to go
totally
forward.
Different subject.
No, we're talking about the credibility of the FBI. I'm speaking to it in terms of 2 guilty pleas, the same issue that Trish Regan raised.
So, but let's get back to what they have done along the way. I mean, the concern here, right, is that it's a kind of witch hunt. And Alan Dershowitz has said to me, look, once you get a special prosecutor in there, there's no telling what they're going to come up with. And his concern, his fear, is that they're going to go after a guy like General Flynn who has a few skeletons in his closet and clearly has lied before, including to our own vice president.
He's pled guilty to lying.
So
he
the
was
concern
fired.
is, what is he offering up? Is he even doing so legitimately? In other words, how do you
Yes,
trust
I'm sure
a
he
source that has lied on other occasions, Doug?
Well, I think, frankly, he had the highest defense intelligence post in the United States. He is a respected man who's made some very serious mistakes. I think you cannot just throw out anything he would say willy-nilly. Let's hear what he has to say. Obviously, he got a sweetheart deal. There's a reason for that. We need to know why and for what reason he got that agreement. But I agree with Representative Chaffetz. We need an investigation of the FBI, but the two, I believe, go on different tracks.
So the Inspector General has turned up with some things that so far aren't looking very good on the FBI's part, Jason Chaffetz. I guess the question is, and there was an interesting op-ed in USA Today about this very issue, how much longer until we really know what's going on at the FBI? And is the clock, in fact, ticking on the FBI if more things like the texts we saw turn up?
Look, I give a lot of weight to what Michael Horowitz and his team, the inspectors general, there at the Department of Justice are doing. They have 450 employees. They have tens of millions of dollars at their disposal. They're embedded already within the bowels of the Department of Justice. You don't have, a starting factor where they have to go and familiarize themselves with this. Michael Horowitz and his team have been looking at this better part of 9 or 10 months. I do anticipate that they'll be ready to go at the end of March. They've been silent. You haven't heard any leaks. They did go back and informed Mr. Mueller that there were some nearly 10,000 texts between somebody who is supposed to be in charge having an affair, supposedly, with somebody, exchanging 10,000 texts that show not only bias, but maybe flat-out collusion, making that aware of them. Again, the Inspector General, I think, will have the most definitive report, and it will be soup to nuts. Everything from Director Comey, or for the tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton and the Attorney General, all the way through to the firing of Mr. Comey, and then it'll segue into what was going on or not going on with this Russia investigation. I think it's a very important part of the investigation.
Do you think that there is an effort to undermine the president, Doug Schoen, there in
I think
DC?
there's an effort to investigate the president. Clearly, these facts about how the FBI has operated are very troubling. But let's, as the representative suggests, let's wait for the Inspector General's report to be done. Let's wait for former Director Mueller's investigation to be concluded. Then we can answer those questions.
Okay, fair point. Thank you so much. Good to see you both.